They're going to get Johnny Cage. This is the beginning. The next film may have some.
I'm ready.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
This is the role. I'm not even joking. This is what I
know.
was like,
here we go. All right, here we go. Settle in, guys.
I watched this movie, I thought for an hour and a half how awful this is and how I'm gonna just light this movie up, and I don't want to, and I'm gonna insult everybody involved. And then at the end, as they teased that, I was like, okay, so this also has to be an audition tape.
Yeah.
Keith, this is a big deal to me. This is a big deal. I don't know.
I figured Mortal Kombat would be a big deal.
Mortal Kombat's a big deal. I was right in the target age and audience for the 1995 Mortal Kombat.
When did the video game come out?
The video game came out in 92 or 93. I think the original was 92.
Okay.
And then the sequel came out like in 94, video game, and then the movie came out in 95. And the movie, as friends of the program will know, big martial arts household, grew up doing that stuff. That movie was my love. It was such a great, good time for a 10 or 11-year-old kid who loved martial arts. Why don't you start? You start. Everyone knows I'm familiar with Mortal Kombat. How familiar are you?
I'm enough. Let's just say I'm familiar enough. I played the game. I was a Sega guy growing up. Sega! I played the game. I enjoyed the game. I was right in that wheelhouse of like, there's blood. I love it. Like, let's fight each other. You know, I like swords.
Were you allowed to play it?
I bet if you asked my parents, they'd say no. But I honestly don't remember not being allowed to play it. I had the game. So I want to say I was allowed to play it.
Yeah.
But I remember, boy, do I remember the uproar about playing it and about, like, this was like the game.
And television's Captain Kangaroo says parents are not paying enough attention.
Understand that these are not harmless toys.
So I definitely remember that part of it.
Nice. Yeah, I was not allowed to play it. It was definitely one that, like, I was specifically forbidden. It was like, it's not, this isn't a joke. It was like, yeah, you're not supposed to watch R-rated movies, but sometimes you go to a friend's house and watch them. Don't go to your friend's house and play Mortal Kombat. That is not allowed. And once in a while, as I got a little older and more daring, you did. And it was like, oh, wow. I enjoyed the games. I didn't, like, love it. Like, I liked them. I thought it was cool. Arcades, you know, going to the arcade.
Yeah.
That was tough because your mom would be like, grocery store, go play at the arcade, and then you're playing roulette with your life. Like, if I'm gonna play Mortal Kombat real quick, but if she walks up and catches me, I am fucking busted. So
I love this used to be video games. This it's two buttons and a joystick.
Yeah.
Very delicate.
So much
important
fun.
Surgery here.
So much fun. And like
kids don't know.
The pre-internet where it's like you can't, there's not just a place you can go to figure out the fatalities. Like there's like trial and error, like the combos to create the fatalities. And then it's like, so you got to go talk to Brian. Brian knows how to do the Sub-Zero fatality. Oh, you got to go it was like this whole like underground currency of like which fatalities do you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a tremendously culturally impactful for sure.
Yeah, it's a thing. Mortal Kombat, love it or hate it, it's a thing.
Ever heard of it?
It's a thing.
So,
this film. I think we should talk about this.
Should we talk about this film?
Here's the thing. I'm gonna do my open. Fuck you.
Okay.
Everett. I bet you think I'm gonna crush this movie. I
don't know what to expect from you.
I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna destroy it and pick its story apart. And I am not. I am not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Was pleasantly surprised. Don't give me the face. Let me explain.
No, Keith.
Buckle up, fans.
This is not the hill.
This is here. Let me finish. Can I finish? Can I finish?
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
This film is what I wanted Godzilla vs. Kong to be. This film is what I wanted that film to be in terms of a combination of enjoyment with just a general understanding of, we have to tell a cohesive story. Some sort of a semblance of craft may be too strong of a word, but just care, understanding, like, oh, these things have to equal things. Things have to make sense to some degree for this linear story to make sense. I was pleasantly surprised with how the film handled the film itself. Pleasantly surprised.
You always joke we should cancel the show. I think right now is the moment we cancel the show because you have zero credibility. I'm
What do you
embarrassed
mean?
to be on the screen at the same time as
Fuck you.
This movie
Why?
made me want to apologize to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Get the
I'm
fuck
sorry.
out of here.
Great news, Godzilla vs. Kong.
You're
you
nuts.
are no longer the worst movie I've seen this
No,
year.
you are. I will not accept it. I'm going to walk off the show right now. I will not accept it. I will not accept that as an
movie
answer.
Is a fucking train wreck shit show.
Shut up.
From beginning to end with maybe 0.5 redeemable qualities. There is zero good about this, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I hate being
I'm
like
sorry
this.
too for him. Only watch my side of the screen.
I
Only
hate
watch
being
my
like
side of the
this.
screen.
I
What
don't
movie
like
did you
insulting
watch?
people, but like, my God, Keith, this is what's good. What's good?
Let me clarify. I do not believe this is a good film. I do not. But in terms of one-trick pony films, about films that are just big and stupid and fun and just meant to appease its core fan base, this is, if you put it in that context, this film is a B. This film is a B within that context of genres. Like Godzilla vs. Kong is clearly like for these monster lovers and for these people who just want to see things get destroyed and have a good time doing it, which we both agree is totally fine for those people who enjoy it, but that film was garbage. This film falls into that category, but does a much better job executing from a story standpoint, from a film standpoint, than Godzilla vs. Kong could ever do. And I don't know how you can't see that part of it.
I think they're both trash. So like, I'm not coming to Godzilla versus Kong's defense all of a sudden.
Sounds like you are.
They're like, I kept thinking as I watched this, like, wow, if I actually was someone who gave a shit about Mortal Kombat and like that extended universe and those characters, which there's a lot of people out there that do,
Yeah, of
because it goes far beyond video games and movies at this point. It's like whole histories and universes and comic books and graphic novels and everything. I would be so offended by this incarnation of the pandering that's so blatant.
Flawless victory.
But it's not well done. Like, they didn't do anything particularly well done. So like, I just feel like, God, we got it. Like, to me, this was closer to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is the awful sequel from the late 90s that was like, you couldn't believe what you were watching, than it is to the first Mortal Kombat movie, which to me is head and shoulders above this film in almost every regard. We waited, this is what I would say, we waited 20 years for this. If I was a Mortal Kombat fan, we finally got an R-rated Mortal Kombat movie that's like really violent, hella profanity, yes, production value, and we got this steaming heap of garbage. I would be so offended.
I have not seen the first one, or I haven't seen any of them. I'm familiar with the characters, I'm familiar with the game, I have enough context to sort of get me through. I was lost a little bit, but I blame myself more for not knowing the universe well enough going in, because to this point you probably have to. You can't just keep reminding, you can't start from scratch with these type of IP things. So I sort of excuse the film for that and blame me a little bit for not being fully versed in the universe going in.
I disagree with that too. That's not your job. This is a brand new film.
To some degree,
it's
it
the
has
film's
to be.
responsibility to build out the characters and not leave you, like, you can tease
True.
past IP and past knowledge, but this is an original film.
Correct. So for the most part, yes, I agree with that. And that's one of my biggest complaints with Endgame, which I cannot wait to fucking destroy that film. But I don't think there was enough there that I could fully understand what was going on. There was enough there. I don't think I got every little wink and nod and every little Easter egg or whatever. But for that film, it was a cohesive story. It started in a very similar fashion that it ended. Every character's arc was completed. Everything was tied together. And then on top of it, there was there was a little subtle nuances of things that you think are throwaway, but have some sort of relevance. And I'll give you an example of something I was impressed with, that Godzilla vs. Kong, and I'm sorry to keep shitting on that movie, but it's going to be the example for the episode, would never do. The way that, and I'm probably going to butcher these people's names too, Kano, spoiler alert, when he dies, what does he die from? He dies by getting stabbed in the eye by one of those gnomes that he 10 scenes
Art.
10
Art.
scenes earlier, 5 scenes earlier.
She stabbed him with.
He stabbed him with. 1,000%. I'm not saying it makes great art or great cinema. I'm saying there is clear intent, clear thought to this story throughout that these other type of films go in that are in this lane do not have. And I'm impressed with this film taking it upon itself to do that. I'm impressed with that, because I wouldn't have thought they would have done shit like that throughout. There's a handful of examples like that, but I love that care of that story. I do. I appreciate it.
It feels just
so
like
I give
such
it credit.
a low bar to clear.
But that's what these films are.
Clear. Like, wow, they actually thought about the story a little bit, which, sure, I guess. But if the performances are terrible and the writing is maybe the worst ever, like the dialogue is so awful and the overall structure is so messy and convoluted, and the film as a whole is so bad, like, how can I don't even give a shit. Like, you asked, how did he die? I was like, I don't even remember. I watched this movie 40 minutes ago. Like, I have no idea. Like, I wanted to turn it off 5 times. 10, 15 minutes in. As soon as Sonya Blade came on camera, I was like, oh, if I didn't have this response.
Why her? Why are you drawing the line at Sonya?
And the writing. Are you kidding me? Those are the 2 biggest hurdles. Like, I don't know. I know that people put different value on aspects of films. And I think that you put a little more on, like, story continuity. I think that's almost like your go-to. Where to me is, if the writing and the acting, that 2-headed monster, are awful, which I'm sorry to all of these people. Like, not everybody's bad, but almost everybody is truly, truly awful. And the dialogue, I was cracking up. At all the parts that weren't funny. At all parts that weren't funny.
You're welcome. Sounds like you had a great fucking time.
Yeah. I couldn't believe the dialogue. So I mean, I don't know how your takeaway is like, yeah, like sort of positive. I know you're saying it's not a great movie, but even to have any metric of positivity, it confounds me.
Here's what I think the film did probably the best is I think fans, if you like Mortal Kombat, I do believe you're gonna love this film, because it was littered with callbacks from, those catchphrases, building up for get over here, like the stuff that you remember, the stuff that you grew up loving is in this film. And then it has a bunch of these one-off battles, which is what the game is based on. These like hand-to-hand combat fight scenes throughout the whole film. I think if you wanted that stuff, you got it. You got the blood, you got the creative fatalities, you got the catchphrases, like you got it.
But all right, well then just watch, like, this is what this movie should be then. It should just be performers reenacting fights from Mortal Kombat. And if that's what you're saying, like, that's the lowest bar, like, great, that's what it is. You get 2 people fighting and it's really gory. But there's nothing like tying that together in any meaningful, emotional way, and the parts that are there to try to do that are horrible. Are horrible, comically bad. Look, every scene that's on Outworld.
We didn't win 9 straight tournaments by following the rules.
Tell me that is not some of the worst moments in film you've ever seen. Shang Tsung sitting out on his throne with his fucking people around. They're all like cracking wise and like, it's fucking terrible.
So yes, yeah, I can't disagree with that part of it. But there was enough groundwork, in my opinion. Okay, I'm not defending if it was a good film or not. I'm not. It is a bad film. Yes, it is. It is not an Oscar quality type film. It's really not even just like a good, well constructed film. Okay. No,
we're making baby steps here, Keith. This is good. This is progress.
Yes, but within the genre that I put it in, I'm just keep repeating myself. I think it exceeds within that genre. from what you can expect, because all of those films in that genre are bad. I don't think there's a good film within the genre we're discussing. Like you can't. Can you name one? Can you name one? You can't.
The genre is just what? Fan service bullshit?
Yeah, fan service bullshit.
Well, I feel like the genre as you're establishing it here is inherently bad, because you're saying
Right.
that's the genre, bad movies that are just here to target.
But that people enjoy.
Niche group.
It's bad movies that people enjoy. It's theme park, to probably quote Martin Scorsese. It's these sort of theme park action films that are just there to tantalize. And
You keep Scorsese's name out of your mouth, you son of a bitch. not in this conversation.
listen.
No, but I would say that's the first one. I know you haven't seen it, so you don't have the frame of reference. But the first movie is very hokey in a lot of ways.
Let's dance.
But it's fun and it's self-aware. This movie, I think, tries to think it's a little self-aware sometimes, but it's not really. It's not really. Because
It's so-
most evident, I feel like in the more serious scenes are so corny and ham-fisted and terrible. Whereas the other one, it knew what it was and was having a good time. So that to me is like a good, bad movie.
My friends will come.
They're already here.
None of those people are dead, right? Nobody actually died. They're all just
No.
going to be resurrected.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's the hallmark of it.
There's a bunch of stupid shit. If you want me to nitpick it,
Keith, redeem yourself.
Do you want to know what are the stupidest? Here, I'll give you one of the stupidest things that I thought was so stupid. When they go into that void, and then Raiden he's just like, okay, now we're in this void.
It's safe
also,
zone.
the bad guys can't get us here. Why? Because I said so. They can't get us here. So because we're safe. So moving on. Just completely out of nowhere, and there's no reason.
This tree is base. Safe here.
Seriously, is it littered with those inconsistencies? Yes, of course. But that's no fun.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple of individual performances real quick, and then
Why?
we'll move on.
Okay, sure.
Well, I mean, come on, Keith. We're talking about movies here. Movies,
Yeah.
directing, writing, acting. These are the main things. Yeah. You can't... It's a movie with this many characters, too. We're not going to talk about the performances? We're just going to overlook?
I think we did talk about the performance. They suck for the most part.
Who do you think... I got a top five. Was there any
This is the
performances...
dumbest
Let me
thing
just ask
ever.
this, honestly. Were there any performances that stood out to you as being especially bad?
I feel like I know what you're going to say, and I disagree. The worst performance is probably Sonia, the blonde
I'm Sonia.
Yes.
woman.
That's
probably-
correct. That's number one.
There's a right and a wrong. Yeah, she's probably the worst. Again, no disrespect to her, because I feel bad, but yes, she's probably the worst.
She is the worst. And
Okay.
yeah, we don't enjoy insulting people, but we're not insulting you personally. There's just a poor performance. That's fine. Maybe we're directed to do that. That happens. Every bad performance I've ever given, it's the director's fault. So I get you, sister. I look forward to working with you on the sequel.
Yeah, just lighten these people up, and then you're hoping to show up day one. Hey guys, Johnny Cage here.
Just another starstruck fan, huh?
The main protagonist is also very bad. Cole Young? Who the fuck is Cole Young?
What was his name? I didn't even know.
Cole
And again,
Young.
no, in the film, in Mortal Kombat. What
Cole
character is he?
Young.
Oh, that's his name? I thought that was his actor, real life name. Sorry.
No, actor's name is Louis Tan.
Okay.
Yeah, Cole Young, I guess, is an original character for this film. He's not in the video games, which threw me off the whole time.
Yeah, that threw that. I just assumed he was going to transform into Scorpion. I thought that was the whole point, because he's got the bloodline of Scorpion. So I thought
That would have been a lot cooler. That makes a lot more sense.
That's what I thought. Eventually, it was going to be that he had his powers or whatever coming out, and then that last thing while he fought Sub-Zero
No, his powers are that he got a shirt.
yeah.
He got a shirt that let him kill Goro.
Yeah. Let me tell you how stupid. I'm sorry. I was on your team the whole time. But the we can't outthink that when their whatever is unlocked, the difference between like getting a power and getting like armor, like those are two very different things, guys. Like you can get an ability through unlocking your whatever the fuck it's called, but you can't just get weapons. You can't just get weapons and be like, oh, now I just have them. Where did they come from? How does that work?
Keith.
Like, that is the stupidest. The guy's arms, the mechanical arms that were built, like just all of a sudden bulk up and now he's strong.
What was that? I thought I missed something.
I'm so sorry. That is incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid.
That was
but for the most
his
part, I like the
internal
film.
power. His
the internal power that he unlocks is now building science out. Like that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Go see the film though. I think you're gonna like it. I like it. I
really
don't
great
dislike it. That's so stupid. Continue.
Yeah. So, but a quick point on Cole Young was like, I spent the whole time wondering, like, why isn't this Johnny Cage? Why isn't this just Johnny Cage? To your, like, I give you credit. I think that Scorpion idea was a really great idea. That would make more sense.
That's what I thought they were doing.
The entire flow of the movie, that is his power, and that the spirit of this ghost that he sees in these flashbacks every now and then,
it's
is
his
whispering
bloodline.
in his ear. Like, that's brilliant. It's beautiful. So much better. Good job, Keith.
I should write the film sequel.
told you.
Hire me.
Write
I'll
the
hire
sequel.
Ev. And John.
We love you guys. We have tremendous respect for your work. But outside of that, I was like, why isn't this Johnny Cage, who, and because I didn't know who Cole Young was, and then I had the thought at the end of the movie when they clearly tease him, I was like I want to know, I want to have those serious conversations we talk about. Like, why did you not just make that Johnny Cage? And is it because you wanted to save a big character or two to try to lure a real star in to play them in the next film on the hopes that this first film does really well? And people are like, oh, that Mortal Kombat movie was super well received. Now we can go get Channing Tatum and he's going to come in and be Johnny Cage. Like, do you think that was that?
I think that is probably B. Well, I take that back. That makes total sense. And especially because he's a Hollywood star. Because now we might be able to get super meta and get a Hollywood star to play a Hollywood star. I did read a little bit. I don't read well, but I'd read a little bit that, and I was very surprised, but the director or the writer, I forget exactly who was quoted, said his absence from the film was because of his lack of popularity. That they have mechanisms to see like who gets picked the most. That they like who are the more popular
big
people.
data,
And he is
big data collecting your shit.
Yeah, Big Brother coming into your PlayStations or whatever. And he is not one of those people. He did not make that first sort of cut, however they decided to do that. And that's A, why he wasn't in it, and B, is that they didn't feel he fit in this story. This story wasn't...
so much care to the story where they're just shoehorning in all these characters all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't make... I mean, that's interesting. If that's the case, that's interesting. I have a hard time believing that because there's so many characters, right? Like that was another flaw of the film, I thought, was like they're trying to just shove in, especially all of a sudden there's the villains Cabal and whoever the fuck the guy was with the big hammer and the winged creature who met a very unfortunate demise, which we should talk about. Yeah, I don't know. I think Johnny Cage sort of varies in popularity. You love him or you hate him, which again...
Yeah, that's his character.
Cast me. The performance... So I thought the high point of the film. This is the high point of the film. While not super high. Kano.
Yeah.
Actor named Josh Lawson.
Oh, by the way, your beer's shit and you're almost out of it.
He's the best.
He stole what little of the show there was there to be stolen. The one genuine laugh that this film got for me in a moment that it was trying to be funny was when he learned he had a laser and he said,
Laser beam! It's better than fireballs, you pussy!
I laughed. That one
He made me laugh a handful of times. He was super funny, and his performance, I thought, of that character was great. Was great. For what this is.
For what it is.
At times there was a little bit much. Like I was like every line of dialogue was like a little one-liner and a zinger and go fuck yourself sort of attitude. He didn't have to go all the way there, but Pedro Pascal. He was having a good time. He went for it. And he was the best part. He was the best part of the film.
Yeah, I'd pat that guy on the back and buy him a beer and then say like, all right, you emerged from this. Joe Taslim plays Sub-Zero. I thought he did good. You know, he had a mask on the whole time, but in the early scenes, I thought he had a bunch of charisma in that intro scene. I thought, this guy, I would watch a movie with this guy. He did a good job. Mentioned
that first scene was great.
Hiroyuki Sanada, who's Scorpion, and that's it. Everybody else did that. I like the actor who I've liked the actor who played Jax. His name's Makad Brooks. I used to watch True Blood, and in the early seasons of that show, True Blood, he showed up, and I thought he was very charismatic and had a really bright future as a performer. He's not like great in this movie, but I was happy to see him. So Makad, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure seeing you again. Big arms. I respect the arms. It's not your fault that they developed because of a magic power. That was weird. Couple of standout lines for you, Keith. You who thinks the script and the dialogue are top notch.
Best adapted screenplay.
It's just a matter of noticing. Like, you don't want to notice the writing. You know what I mean?
But you're talking about being self-aware. You can't say you don't want to notice the writing and then want the film to be self-aware. That's a version of being self-aware.
World of difference.
Absolutely not. That is a version of being self-aware. I think the film, because with all those catchphrases, but being self-aware enough to know that they're not great, but that falls in line with these like get over here moments. Get over here. I think all of these things like I'll be back. It's that's part of being self-aware in my opinion from a film standpoint. That's part of it.
Yeah, but bad writing is not. I'm not talking about the get over here.
Give me an example, and I bet I'm going to argue it.
Okay. When I don't even remember who's trying to recruit Cole Young at the beginning, maybe Jax, and Cole Young says, "You got the wrong guy. I'm not the fighter I used to be." Okay, that was just like that kind of dialogue.
That's cliche. That could be in Point Break.
After that, the reptile creature breaks in and fights Kano and Sonya and Cole Young in the trailer. Sonya says, "Years of research down the drain. Do you believe me now?" Terrible. Where he says, wait, this is great. Well, where he says, I don't remember who's talking to anybody, but Cole Young says, "Well, I'm willing to die for my family." And then Liu Kang says, "Well, let's see if you have what it takes." Keith, this is not self-aware. This is just bad writing. This is the best line. This was the best line. I might have laughed hardest. Out of nowhere, he says, I think he's saying like, "I'm nobody," Cole Young again. And he says, "I'm an orphan from the south side of Chicago." Who talks like that? Keith, who?
Writers talk like that. Writers talk in dramatic tones. Yeah, I'm not defending it.
He's about to get his soul sucked. He's about to get his soul sucked, is a line that was said.
No, listen. Guys, I am doing my best here, but he's bringing up some solid points. I can't. I really was hoping you would pick some different lines. Those are all very bad. Very bad. Those are very bad. Those are very bad.
Thank you.
Those are very bad. You got a knack for bad writing, Everett. I'll give you that.
When I think they're in the void. They're in the safe zone void, and they're like talking about who they're gonna split up to fight, and Cole Young, wearing his power shirt, is talking to Sonya and says like, "You're gonna take on Kano," and he says, "I've seen you kick his ass before or whatever," and then he says, "He's got a laser now. Watch out for that." Like, hey, great tip, Cole Young. Watch out for that. Oh, good. Thank God you told me.
That's one of the funniest things I think I've heard. He's got a laser. Watch out for that.
Watch out for that laser in his eye. It's mind-bogglingly bad. I thought it was bad. Even the subtitles were bad. When Scorpion comes back at the end and he's like, "Do you remember this face?" or whatever, and then he just uninvited says, I am Scorpion now. Like, what, dude? Like,
Well, because
like,
of subtitles,
who gives-
you
like-
feel the drama. No, that line was more just for me. That's the only one I'll fight you on. That was more just because that's the sort of the whole tie. Because he says, I'm going to go into my argument about care of the story because there's a full circle moment that the film is trying to have. Whether they stick the landing or not, I'm not debating. But I am saying there is thought. What would have been a much worse version of this film is that they don't have that first scene at all, or he doesn't say that line in the beginning like, remember me, I'll be back to get you. And then he just does that and goes, I'm Scorpion now. Like, what? Where did that come from? But there's a reason that he does that. Again, do they execute it perfectly? Well, I'm not talking about that. But the fact that they thought about it gives it more credit than a lot of other shitty movies.
It's such a low bar to say this movie put a lot of care into this because they had 4 callbacks. You know, like callbacks
Not
are not
4. There's
I know. It's like I'm rounding down.
You're
But, like,
minimalizing their accomplishments.
though that's not that crazy to be like, oh my God, in the first scene of the movie, he says, remember my face. And then at the end of the movie, he says, do you remember my face? Like, oh,
But
wow,
it's more
they
than
really
that.
tied
You're
this all together.
oversimplifying it to prove your point, you prick. There's more. Did you realize that they were this? I'm sorry. Fuck. Did you realize that in the final fight scene between Scorpion and Sub-Zero took place in the same gym that Neil Young, what's his name?
Neil Young, that's right.
Neil Young lost his, they're in that cage that he lost in it's a whole full circle moment. Like, there's thought. They paid attention to the story. They gave a shit about the story. And I appreciate that because in these films, it's clear you don't have to. I can hand in a script where none of that matters, where instead of them fighting in that cage that has relevance, emotional relevance to the main character, they're just fighting in hell. They're just fighting in hell. It's some hellscape where it just looks cool and there's things flying and bats and vampires and werewolves coming down for no reason. There was a point to that, and I appreciate that. I really do, and that gives this film credibility, in my opinion. Some level of credibility.
You're right. It's a great film. No, I like that setting at the end. That was another piece of praise I was going to give it. I thought that ice world was cool looking. I was kind of disappointed in general that we didn't really see Sub-Zero do his signature move, which is shooting it and freezing someone. Like, that didn't happen at all, which is kind of weird.
He'll get to it. He'll be back for the second one.
Yeah, no, we're going to work together and we're going to be best friends. Me and Joe Taslim. I'm excited to meet you, Joe. Excited to work with you. I really liked the part where, again, I don't remember any of the characters who was doing what, but he was doing like low spin kicks. I think Liu Kang was maybe low spin kicking Kano repeatedly. And Kano said, like, is that the only move you know or something?
That's the only move you know, mate.
And that's a great video game callback.
That's a great video game, And that's another version of being self-aware.
That is.
That's clearly, that's a self-aware, there's a handful of times like that. Where it's like, is that the only move you know? Because and then when he faked him out and like he's like midair and he's like, oh shit. Like he knew he got it. Like that was great. That was a fun, like I laughed, I enjoyed it. That was a good moment. And there's a handful of times that I enjoyed moments of the film. I was like, fun. That's fun. That's just fun.
Yeah, that was one of the few times I was like, cool. But the two things I thought at the end were, one, those cowards were too afraid to kill off Cole Young's family, who would obviously be dead, frozen, unconscious in that world. Sub-Zero is a cold-blooded, literally killer. Like, he's not going to keep them for, like, suspended animation, whatever. And two, I thought it was such a stupid way to introduce the prospect of Johnny Cage and these future fighters, where just out of nowhere, Raiden at the end is like, I have a new list of warriors. It's like, this was supposed to be the defining tournament. Shouldn't you have exhausted all of your resources? I mean, an hour ago when you first met this group of ragtag losers, you were like, we have no hope, the world's ending. And at the end, he's like, actually, I have a secret list of some more people. Maybe you should have brought in all these people ahead of time.
No, he knew. He's the old wise guy. I don't know. He knows. He knew they could handle it the whole time. I also think it's so stupid that they said, Like, well, why can't you fight? You're the master. I don't get involved. I don't get
It's against
involved.
the rules. It's against the rules.
That's against the rules. I can't fight, even though I shoot fucking lightning everywhere, and I'm clearly the best at all of this. But like, I don't fight. That's you guys think. What?
So I missed early on. I missed the part that if you kill someone that has the birthmark, you get the birthmark. Like I missed that part. So I kept wondering, like, wait, how does Kano? Why? Like I thought, did he skin the guy and take it, and that's what like that counts? So I didn't really understand. But then when I learned that, I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. But then I thought, like, so what if Kano was drunk, right? And he was just out at some pub in Australia and was wandering across the fucking outback trying to get home. And I drove by and I had some drinks, smashed him in my car, killed him. Do I get the birthmark?
You do. You should, by that logic. But this is too much. This is
So
a
then
layer
I'm like,
too deep.
then I get a power?
No, then you have to unlock it. Then you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't
just
even
get
know.
really mad. Maybe do I get a gold shirt? Will a gold shirt appear?
I don't know everybody's name. Who is the highest evil guy? Not Sub-Zero, but like who everybody's working
Shang
for comes
Tsung.
in at the end. Shang
The soul
Tsung.
sucker.
The soul sucker. I didn't feel like this guy was scary enough to be like he was very vanilla from this is going to be your ultimate. Yeah, like your ultimate bad guy, your ultimate evil, whatever. And even how I remember him in the video games, like up on that perch, like he would like be up on a perch watching.
Yeah.
I thought he was more old and decrepit, more like Crypt Keeper-like, and I wanted him to be more of like this frail appearing menacing figure who wasn't super strong or whatever, but could just like snap his fingers and just murder people or whatever. I feel like they just half-assed that character when he could have been a much bigger deal.
Totally. He's like the king baddie, before they get to Shao Kahn, I think is the next guy up. But like Shang Tsung, played by an actor named Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa in the first movie. He was a great actor. He's a great actor with a really like dynamic face that really embodied like he was very menacing.
You will be next.
And I thought he was one of the best parts of that first movie. And this guy, literally, I was like, a familiar face. The actor who played him in this movie, which his name is Chin Han, who I've seen in several things. He just looked like he didn't want to be there, and they didn't know what to do with him, so they just kind of like shoehorned him in, and then we need to show him sucking someone's soul, so we just throw Kung Lao to the wolves here and just have that scene shoehorned in, which didn't need to happen. Yeah, he was like zero menacing, zero threat.
Yeah, that I thought was a big miss, even in this world.
Yeah,
like it felt like that was a missed opportunity to make him. They should have pushed his character further.
Yeah, well, yeah, or less. Like if you're gonna have Sub-Zero be the main guy, have Shang Tsung kind of be this off-camera Dr. Claw. Like, off camera.
But even that's more menacing within mystery. Like, you just see his hand.
Then you're setting him up for the sequel.
Yeah. There was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, there's a puppet master who's controlling everything, and he's sending his minions, and his minions are the main bad guys for this one. But the next one, we're going to meet him, etc., etc.
Yeah, a couple different ways you could have played it.
I didn't like that Goro was so throwaway. Like, Goro was always, like, the right-hand main villain, and I had this weird feeling when he showed up that he was going to die right away. Like, I just had this feeling, and that was disappointing. Like, I'm sure they'll bring him back, but Goro deserves better. Hashtag
GoroDeservesBetter.
I was bummed because I thought we'd get to talk about a bunch of martial arts greatness, and the first movie borrowed so heavily, if not ripped off directly, Enter the Dragon, which is the classic Bruce Lee film about, going to a tournament and fighting your way up to reach the main bad guy. And I thought this one would have some of that, and we could really get into all that. And that's like my passion is that genre. And so I promise you we'll make up for it. And we need to talk about the first Mortal Kombat. We're going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soon. And then I'm going to just do a whole Jackie Chan month. So get ready.
Should we do a blood sport? Should we throw blood sport in there?
Yeah, let's do a martial arts playlist. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Blood sport and sidekicks with Chuck Norris and Jonathan Brandis.
Oh, now I was gonna mention it. I loved that film growing up.
That's what sidekicks are for.
Love
big
Brandis
sidekicks
growing up. Yeah, love big sidekicks guy.
Oh,
Love Ladybugs too.
I remember.
From
You say
Brazzers?
Ladybugs?
Yeah, from Branson. Jonathan Branson's in it.
Nice try. Where's your mother?
I don't know, I'm busy.
Oh, what the fuck? We're talking about martial arts movies. You bring up Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, but you bring up kid's a star.
Jonathan Brandis was a very talented man.
He was. Yeah,
Rest in
I was a
peace.
fan growing up. I thought he was the coolest.
Tragic story.
Yes, unfortunate.
So my last thing here is, I'm so glad I thought of this because I'd hate myself if I'd forgotten.
I wish you forgot.
The best thing about Mortal Kombat, the greatest thing about any of this IP, is that fucking theme song from the old days. Mortal Kombat.
We don't have the rights. We don't have the rights.
I know. That's why I did as much as I could because, you know. Love that song. It might be the song I've listened to more than any other one song in my life. When this movie came out in '95, I was so taken with the soundtrack. I listened to the soundtrack obsessively. It was the soundtrack to all of my martial arts movies I made with my friends. And so to me, going into this movie, that was my main thought, was these filmmakers have one job, because they're going to get a moment to drop that in. They have to play that theme song, and that is a built-in moment. Like, what a nice thing you have as a filmmaker to be like, no matter what, as long as I don't fuck this up, when I drop that song in, it's gonna be like a yeah. And they, I guess, in the context of this film, which I would have obviously done differently, they did it at the right time, but it was a very like muted version of the theme. Like, it was kind of this light instrumental, like boom, 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 boom. Like, it wasn't, like, I knew it wasn't going to be the exact same song, even though that would have been fucking cool if it was. You want to talk about self-awareness? You want to talk about fan service? You drop that song in the original version. But I thought that was kind of a miss, and I was disappointed that fell flat too. And that was, you had a layup there. I just feel that way in general about this movie. The song, the characters, like, what a treat it would be to be offered. These people worked really hard, I know. But to have the opportunity to make a film that has built-in emotional connection with your viewers. Like, I have no idea what that's like, and I would be amazed to be like, we have all these catchphrases, we have all these signature moves, we have the song, we have these background stories, all this stuff that you have so many opportunities for moments to really, like, affect your viewers, and you miss on almost all of those. Like,
you're getting confused. You're just, as a fan, you're almost too much of a fan. And probably the difference between me and you is I'm not as big of a fan going into the film, so I don't miss all those moments. You're just getting caught up.
You said fans would love it. You said fans would love this movie.
No, but I'm saying for you specifically, I do think fans would love it because I think they would be happy that they got a lot of the things that they got. I think it was very clear decisions to bring a lot of those things to life. They can't do all of it, but I think you got enough of it where you feel good about it. But you personally can't separate what you would have wanted to see or what you would have done differently versus what you got. Therefore, it is bad because it's not what you wanted. I think you're just a very dumb person and you need to accept it.
It's bad for a lot of reasons before we even get to the things I wish were in it. It's not bad because I wish it was different. It's bad because the writing is awful and the performances are terrible. Until part 2. When everything gets a shit ton better.
Dun, 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 dun.
That Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ace.